I don't know about you guys, but it's so impressive what the Chinese American community is doing all over the country this weekend. And I'm excited to be here with you guys to celebrate that. Now, of course, none of us would even be here if not for the United Chinese American Foundation. And the president of that foundation, Hai Pei Shu, is a friend to all of us. Hai Pei, I would love for you to come onto the stage.
Oh, thank you, Elise, for the introduction. Can you guys see me here? Yeah. I'm so excited to be here and kick off this Food of Love Day, and with our four distinguished guests. Many of them are from the West Coast, and two performing artists from Tennessee, or is it Kentucky? I'm sorry. So we are celebrating that in this month of Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. And most importantly, we are celebrating that on the day most significant to Chinese Americans in terms of our contribution to this country. That is the day, the May 10th, the day when the Transcontinental Railroad was completed by the hard labors of our early immigrants from China and our forefathers. So we are honoring their memories today. Starting this weekend until the end of this month, Chinese community from all over the countries, over 40 of them, and nearly 100 cities already lined up to start to work to deliver food and organize food drives for local banks and food pantries. All over the country, I have never seen Chinese community this much engaged and this much energized and this much mobilized to help in my 33 years in America. This is unbelievable. I would like to see that this is possibly a turning point in terms of Chinese American communities' public service or charitable giving. And I think with our four distinguished guests here, with your help, our community will move towards that direction. And I think we hope we have reached that point. So our slogan for this event is 50 states, 100 cities, and 1 nation united. We will be celebrating that this weekend with everybody and all our communities across the country. Enjoy. I could introduce very quickly our 4 distinguished guests. We have Congresswoman Judy Chu. Sorry to get you out of bed this early. Now, I don't need much introduction of Congresswoman, and she is from LA, San Gabriel Valley, where most Chinese are living, very vibrant community. And Congresswoman also serves as the chairperson of Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus. And we have worked together for many years. And I've been telling everybody, I couldn't imagine US Congress now without her there. I don't even know how to think about US Congress. That's Judy. Everybody know her so well. I will, next is Congressman Ted Lieu, and also from LA. Hey, Ted, sorry to drag you out of bed this early. I hope you're doing fine there with your family. Congressman Lieu is just a few years into the House, and now is a part of the Democratic leadership. And he has been doing a lot of amazing work in terms of our civil rights and civil liberties. Many wonderful things he has been doing. And I'm sure many of you saw him on Twitter a lot too. I'm not going to get into that. And I have our distinguished ambassador and the former Governor Locke there, also from the West Coast. Ambassador, you have been doing amazing work for our community and representing our countries. We just so grateful for you be there with us today and tomorrow and hope for a long time to come. And lastly, do I have Andrew Yan here? Hey, Andrew, how are you doing? I guess. All right. Yeah, you're being muted. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, everybody knows Andrew. Don't need my introduction anymore. You know, we had 2 years ago had our convention in Washington D.C. and Andrew was very gracious to come there. I think in terms of the new immigrant community, that was a big event that so many of us has get to know him and been so much impressed by his great work. It's just unbelievable how much groundwork you have broken. Thanks again, Andrew, for that. And lastly, I have 2 distinguished guests. You know what? Hold on a second. Congresswoman Grace Meng has insisted that I should say hello to all of you, especially Gary Locke, Judy Chu, Andrew Yang, and Ted Liu. She was trying to come, but she has a prior scheduled events exact at 12. So, but she said, please do say hello to all of them. So I had done my job. And next, our 2 performing artists, award-winning, Emmy Award-winning, multiple award-winning, 2 amazing artists. Can we have a picture of them? Oh yeah, that's Wu Fei. Look at her 古筝. That instrument is called a 古筝 there. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Wu Fei is, wow. I'd better leave the best part to her to say at the end of today, they will give the performance at the end of this rally today. And do we have a picture of Abigail Washburn? I think we maybe should have her somewhere. So they 2 do a performance together. And you know, I was saying this to those of you who won't. Hey, hi, Abby. Wow, look at that banjo. Again, I was saying that I will leave the best to yourself. You both can introduce yourself to the crowd today across the country. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do justice to your amazing self-introduction. I saw that on YouTube. But the one thing I want to say is that I will mail a copy of their song, which they do that in together in a recording studio, to the 4 of you today, and I will insist that you spend 5 minutes to listen to that. Your heart will be broken. I just want to say one thing, that especially with Ambassador Locke here, the 2 of them, a Chinese and an American, both in citizenship, both Americans, I guess. They are working together in the way they made the music, the 2 countries' music, the Chinese folk music, and the most authentic Tennessee banjo music is unbelievably perfect and so searing. If only our 2 countries and our 2 people can work like the 2 work, this will be so much a better world. And I'm still having hope on that. Thank you. I'm done with my introduction. Yeah, thanks so much.
Well, Haipei, that was amazing. So we're going to go to our first speaker, Congresswoman Judy Chu.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, Haipei Shu, for all your leadership. And as chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, I want to thank United Chinese Americans and the Salvation Army for hosting today's Chinese American Food of Love Day. The coronavirus does not discriminate based on race, ethnicity, or income, which means all of our communities are going through this together. And it will take everyone working together to flatten the curve, beat this virus, and get our economy up and running. I've been amazed by the incredible resolve and spirit that our country has demonstrated in response to the coronavirus. But this pandemic has required great sacrifices, including putting the economy on hold in order to prioritize public health and safety. And even though each of us is equally susceptible to the virus, our most vulnerable are bearing a heavier burden and are more likely to struggle to get groceries or pay their bills. That's why I'm so proud of this amazing partnership between the United Chinese Americans and the Salvation Army, as well as the inclusion of the United China Restaurant Association and TCL to host food drives all across the nation and bring meals to those who need them. We all have a part to play in ending this pandemic, and I'm proud of the Chinese American community for stepping up to show we are one country and one people united in a common cause. And I have to give a special shout out to the organizations in my area of the San Gabriel Valley in Los Angeles County. The major organizations leading the food donation efforts there are the Chinese American CEO Organization. Thank you, President Edward Lee, the Chinese American Federation President Simon Hsiao, and the U.S. Zhejiang Commerce and Culture Association. I want to thank you for starting this this Food of Love Day on a very significant date. It was May 10th when the Transcontinental Railroad was finished. There were 20,000 Chinese workers that finished the Pacific end of the railroad. For such a long time, their accomplishments were not acknowledged, and it is at times like the AAPI Heritage Month, which is this month, that we make sure that they are acknowledged. And let me say there's a parallel to what's going on today, which is there are 2 million Asian Pacific Islanders that are on the front lines of this pandemic. They are the physicians, the healthcare workers, the nurses, the essential workers, and the grocery stores, and in other sites that are so necessary for our economy. And we need to make sure they are acknowledged as well. Your efforts for this Chinese American Food of Love Day is so important that on Friday, I introduced a resolution in Congress to recognize this event. And it is called, this resolution is called Recognizing the United Chinese Americans National Food Drive and the Contributions of Chinese Americans to the United States. And I thank the co-sponsors of this resolution, Congress members Grace Meng and Ted Lieu. So thank you for your work and your commitment to being 50 states, 100 cities, one people, united.
Thank you, Congresswoman Judy Chu. So our next speaker, Congressman Ted Lieu, will continue.
Hello, I'm so honored to be here and want to thank High Pay for your leadership and United Chinese Americans for putting on this wonderful event. I'm so pleased to be with the other speakers, including Ambassador Gary Locke, Andrew Yang, Congresswoman Judy Chu. As you may know, Judy, as chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, has now led the highest number of Asian Pacific Americans in Congress in U.S. history. And we're going to look at potentially maybe even growing that caucus later this year. I also want to note, as Judy has said, that this virus does not discriminate based on race or ethnicity or geographic boundaries. Unfortunately, some people don't understand that, and we've had a rise in hate crimes against Asian Americans across our nation. We have had elected officials, including the president, use the term Chinese virus. It's one reason that I wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post criticizing the president, and so many groups rose up and individuals across the country rose up and spoke out against that. And we do see the president largely not using that term anymore, which is good. But we do have to fight back against hate crimes, and I'm honored to join Judy Chu in her effort on that. Also, want to note that because this is Food of Love Day, we are focusing on food, which is a huge problem for so many Americans across our nation. That's why many of us in the House of Representatives are fighting to increase SNAP benefits, increase food security. Recently, I led a letter with some congressional members in the Central Valley of California asking for increase in funding to their farm to family food programs. They take surplus food from all these farms and deliver them to food banks and other places so that we don't have to destroy this food at these farms. It's so encouraging to see so many Chinese American restaurants also deliver food to those in need. And this is one of the issues we have to address during this pandemic. As you may know, Congress has now passed 4 bipartisan laws to address the pandemic. We're working on our 5th one right now. And we look forward to working with organizations like UCA to try to assist everyone across America. And at the end of the day, it's important that we all speak up for issues we believe in. I believe Abraham Lincoln had it right when he said public sentiment is everything. With it, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. And if we shape public sentiment and speak up, then we're going to do not just good things for our community, but also for our entire nation. And at the end of the day, we win and beat this virus by being together, by being unified, by being one America. We are all Americans, and we're going to prevail. And so with that, look forward to continuing working with you, and thanks so much for inviting me today.
Thanks.
Thank you, Congressman. Our next speaker is Ambassador Gary Locke.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me. It's really an honor to be a speaker along with Congresswoman Judy Chu, Congressman Ted Lieu, and of course our great presidential candidate Andrew Yang. This is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and we have so much to be proud of and so much to celebrate. Asian Americans, Chinese Americans have given much to this country. They've given their blood, sweat, and tears developing this country. As we heard earlier, tomorrow marks the 151st anniversary of the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad, made possible because of the sacrifices of tens of thousands of Chinese laborers who came from China and worked here. It was a railroad that was stuck in the mountains outside of California and could not be finished without the ingenuity and the sacrifices and the technological prowess of the Chinese immigrants. And of course, Chinese immigrants later on served in our armed forces, whether it's like my dad in World War II, part of the Normandy invasion, or others who have served since. And Chinese Americans, Asian Americans who have developed groundbreaking treatments, fighting cancer, fighting AIDS, starting great companies. We have much to be proud of. But we also recognize that there's continued discrimination against Asian Americans. And with this pandemic of the coronavirus, we're seeing these acts of hostility, discrimination, racism targeted against all Asian Americans. And that's something we have to fight. To remind people that America is really a land of immigrants. Except for the Native Americans, all of us are foreigners, whether we're first generation or 10th generation, whether our ancestors came here on the Mayflower, on a slave ship from Africa, or on a steamer from China. And each group, each wave of newcomers to America has contributed to the vitality, the energy, the dynamism, the innovation of America, which makes us so, so unique. This is a time in which we have to remind ourselves that we are one country, made up of many cultures, many peoples, many languages, and many religions. Because we're all in this together to fight the coronavirus. And there are a lot of people who have been hurt, as well as who have died from this. People who have been sickened, people who have died, and I think all of us have people very close to us who have passed away because of the virus. A lot of people are out of work because of the shutdown order to try to stop this virus. And because so many people are out of work, we have a lot of organizations that nonprofits that are not receiving the funds that they normally do. We have a lot of people who are hungry, a lot of people who are trying to feed their families. And that's why this effort by the United Chinese Americans in partnership with the Salvation Army is so important and so needed. This Food of Love Day, in which for the next several weeks, Asian American, Chinese American organizations will be trying to provide food for seniors in senior centers and people who need help wherever they might be, and providing food to food banks. this is a time in which we come together to show that we are one country, one people in 50 states and cities all across America, taking care of each other. And it's really great that we have so many Asian American and Chinese American organizations that have been raising money to buy supplies for our first responders, our medical personnel, making sure they have the equipment that they need. So this is really a time of celebration, but a time in which we need to commit ourselves to helping each other. And I'm just so glad that the United Chinese Americans is working with organizations and Asian American groups all across the United States, along with the Salvation Army, to take care of those in need.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ambassador. And so for our final speaker today, Mr. Andrew Yang, 2020 presidential candidate.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, High Pay, Judy, Ted, and Gary. Such incredible role models. I had the privilege of meeting Gary on the trail, and Ted and Judy, and every time I saw them, it made me feel like all things were possible for Asian Americans in this country. I hope I helped give people that sense of possibility as well. I love the Food of Love name because I really think Chinese food, for me at least, was the food of love. I mean, I grew up eating it. My first job was as a busboy at the Imperial Walk in upstate New York. And so I would show up for my shift, and then at the end of each night, we would eat the leftover Chinese food. So these are some of my formative memories. And the experience that I love to imagine it's going to happen in 100 cities around the country over the next number of days is those people in the food bank or the senior center or the hospital, and then Chinese restaurants delivering them this food of love. Like, that actually is the image in my mind that makes me so happy, because you know how people are going to respond to it. They're going to see it and say, wow, I love Chinese food. These people are giving it to me out of the goodness of their hearts, and it's going to stick with them. They're going to take that experience, probably take a picture of it on social media and share it with people, and it will help combat this wave of anti-Asian and anti-Chinese racism we know we are seeing right now in the country. This is a really challenging time for us all, for all Americans, but I do know that for Asian Americans, there's this added racist element that makes this even harder. We're just as concerned about our futures as anyone else, but then we also are being unfairly associated with and blamed for this virus. And I commend Ted for calling out President Trump's use of the China virus. Gary actually got cast as a Chinese official in one of their ads, which was absolutely ridiculous and offensive. And this narrative of the virus as a Chinese effort is going to be front and center throughout this election in the fall. I genuinely think that what we are doing is one of the most vital efforts for the future of our country and for the world. Because what we have to do is show our fellow Americans that the Chinese government, Chinese people, Chinese Americans and Asian Americans are all very, very different groups, and that you can have an issue with a decision the Chinese government made. And I will say I have major issues with the decisions the Chinese government made insofar as letting the world know the seriousness of this crisis, without having that impact your relationships with your local Chinese restaurant, with the Chinese Americans in your community, with the Asian Americans in your community. That has to be a message that we pound every single day from now until November and beyond, because we have to face facts that this crisis is going to be with us for a long time. The economy is not going to snap back into place like a rubber band. When I was campaigning around the country, some of the people that were most excited to see me in Ohio or Iowa or New Hampshire were Chinese Americans. And when I would get there, you know, they'd show me such love and hospitality, and my heart breaks for them and their businesses, the food marts, the restaurants in these communities, because I can sense that people are going to feel less excited to go to those businesses, even when businesses start to reopen. So this is going to be a very long haul, but it's the people on this call today that are going to lead this effort for our country to see that Chinese Americans are just as American as anyone else. We can contribute to and lead this country at the highest levels, as Judy, Gary, Ted, and others reflect, and Grace, who's here in spirit. But this is about our community, but this is about the country as a whole, and the future of the world, really, is our making this case. So I am privileged to be here with you all to help make this case. I will do anything in my power every day from now into the fall and beyond to let people know that we are all in this together. We're all Americans, and that Chinese Americans and Asian Americans are vital to the future of this country, and somehow associating us with this virus is wrong. It's evil. We will not stand for it. So thank you all so much. And let's deliver some food. Like, I don't know about you all, but this entire event's made me want to order some food from my local Chinese restaurant, even though I know it's very early for you all on the West Coast. Maybe you could like get some dim sum in.
I'm just going to quickly ask each of you, when you think of Chinese food, comfort food, what is it that you think of?
I guess I'll start. Orange chicken.
Okay.
Well, I love dim sum, and we have plenty of places here that are very, very popular. In fact, we feel like we're the heart of the Chinese American food industry. So yeah, people really love Chinese food here.
So I like Megan Cai Kozo. I don't really know how to say that in English, but that's the dish I like.
For me, it's beef chow fun and the baked tambaos.
How do you encourage older generation Chinese or Asian Americans to register to vote or get civically engaged?
I would just walk them through it and literally just sit there with them and be like, hey, let's register you to vote right now. and then when it's voting time, be like, hey, have you voted? Have you sent it in? Like, what do you need help with? Like if you're able to dedicate that kind of time to someone, then they'll be touched by it and they'll 100% vote. If you don't do that, if you just say, hey, do it, then the odds will go down significantly. So just help them with every step of the way. Get the ballot, get it in their hands, fill it out with them. But we need to vote. I mean, the reality is that our community is not the political powerhouse that it has the potential to be, because Chinese Americans and Asian Americans vote at lower levels. We also donate money at lower levels. So it's one reason why I'm so proud to be in the presence of Gary and Judy and Ted, because they broke the mold. And they did something that's uncommon in our community, which is run for office. And then they won, which is phenomenal. In Gary's case, he won an awful lot. The other people, Judy and Ted, you guys are, you'll win too for a long time. So the reality is that if we're going to have people take us seriously politically, it has to start with voting. And so if you know someone in your community that you think you can help get to vote, then do it. You activate one person, two people, that's worth its weight in gold.
I think part of the key to getting more Asian Americans, and especially older Asian Americans, to register to vote, number one is having more Asian American candidates run for office, because that creates excitement. It gives them a reason to vote, because they have pride in fellow Asian Americans running for office. Number two, we need more nonprofit social organizations who are the trusted voices in those communities, informing people of the importance of voting and what it means. We simply need to let them know, everybody know, that if we care about the issues in this country, whether it's employment, whether it's public health, whether it's food, whether it's jobs or education, they need to be voting to send their messages to their local elected officials, whether it's the school board, the city council, the state, or the Congress. And as Andrew said, we really just need to go person to person, finding out who is not registered to vote and encouraging them to help them register, actually help them register.
Well, oftentimes we say that this is the most important election ever, but I must tell you that this November election is the most important ever. If we want to change, we need to all get out to vote. And that's the message that we need to give to all our Asian Americans, including our elderly Asian Americans. So this is the most important election. We need to change things as soon as possible. I want to tell you that in Congress, we are working on our CARES 2 bill, and we hope to vote on it next week or the following week. But one important part of it is having monies for vote by mail, and to have it done on a national basis so that we can make sure that people can participate in the election in as democratically a way as possible, but also so that they are healthy and safe. So this is extremely important to make sure that we have a fair election in November, but we also have to, of course, motivate our people and get the message out that this is indeed the most important election ever.
I agree with everything Judy, Andrew, and Gary has said. I just want to make 2 additional points. The Pew Research report came out 2 days ago and said that among eligible voters, Asian Americans are the fastest rising ethnic group. And so we know from last decade's census data that Asian Americans are the fastest rising ethnic group just in terms of population in the United States. And by the way, everyone needs to fill out their census. But now we also know that among eligible voters, that now also holds true. And so this November could be a pivotal moment for the Asian American community. And then second, as Judy has said about mail-in balloting, some states already are doing this by themselves. So California, for example, is going to have essentially mail-in balloting in November. And that's something that if you're not used to it, you do have to get someone to help you walk through it the first time. And to the extent we can get Asian Americans to help other folks who are not familiar with it do the mail-in ballots, that would be very, very helpful.
Fantastic. Thank you so much to the 4 of you for your wonderful, thoughtful responses. We've had a ton of questions come in, not all about food, but most of them. But besides that, we also saw that clearly a lot of people want to know, the young people want to know how they can get involved with their communities, how they can get involved with civics. And then a lot of people want to know what they can do to increase voters. So I'm just going to suggest now that perhaps UCA should look into this, and we'll have to probably trouble the 4 of you to come help us out with that later on towards the election season. But for now, we're going to continue on with our next speaker, who is one of our partners from the Salvation Army, Miss Esther Xu. Is Esther here? There we go.
Hi, this is Captain Esther Xu. Actually, I am stationed in Oakland, Chinatown, California. The Salvation Army is a non-profit Christian organization and started serving the community in the U.S. in 1980. We are assisting around 23 million in this country annually. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the number of needs has greatly increased. Our Salvation Army is very honored to have this partnership with United Chinese American to show our love to the community through this Chinese Full of Love event. I know different states and cities will have different kinds of programs working with us. For our city, we will use the donation from UCA to buy food to feed the homeless by delivering it to homeless camps, residents in the family shelters, and those impacted by COVID-19. Especially since I am Chinese American, I am very glad to work with everyone on this project. And on behalf of the Salvation Army, I wanted to thank you, and I look forward to working with everyone to show our community our care and our love. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. And finally, our other partner, Tony Hu of Lao Sichuan in Chicago. Tony, are you here?
Tony will be speaking with the Chicago team later on. Thank you, Lily.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you, Lily. Well, then let's go ahead and I'll introduce Ms. Lily Chun here now. She's going to be doing some talk about the local actions that are going on all over the country today. Lily?
Thank you so much. You do an amazing job, Elise. And thank you so much, Congresswoman Judy Chu and Congressman Ted Lieu, Ambassador Locke, and also Andrew. So good to see you, and thank you so much for taking your time to speak to us. Now I'm just going to have Helen and show some pictures of some real actions that are happening in the community. Helen, would you please load up the pictures? And okay, okay, this group is from Atlanta, Georgia, and they are working on a local food bank. This is Coco, who is the leader of the Atlanta team. So Coco, yeah. So they have been
right
working,
now, right?
yeah,
This
right this morning. Yeah, all the actions are happening this morning. Their team member include Coco Cheng, as I said, Ben Bing Meng, Ming Chi, and they are already 114 families receive food. They have received $1,753 for the donation for this event. So next picture, if you wanted to show us. Okay, this is very special for me. Actually, this is from Durham, North Carolina, done by the Chinese American Friendship Association, CAFA. I was there this morning, and at the church, we're working with NWACP and also a local church, being part of their food bank. We donated the mask for their community and also the homemade noodles. And there were tons and tons of cars lining up. And I have talked to the leader of NWACP Raleigh chapter, and he has said that there are many, many families in need. So they were very, very excited to partner with us. And this is only the beginning. We are very excited that the Chinese American community started to work with them. And this is only the beginning, as I said. And also the many local communities, including CAFA, has donated tens of thousands of masks and also food to the local community. And today is only the kickoff of the Food of Love Day. So more pictures to
Thank you very much, Lily.
Anything more?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. This picture, Helen, I'm not sure where is this picture from?
This is actually from our Houston group. We just started a donation yesterday, and the goal is send 15,000 meals to frontline heroes and first responders in Greater Houston area.
Okay. And then you have done tons of work already before, right? Many food drives, and then also the PPE drives. Is that correct, Helen?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a present for one of our hospital sending for us.
Okay, great. All right. So do you have more pictures?
No, you're supposed to do a live from one of our action team.
Okay, great. So now we're going to show the UCA Illinois team and working with our state representative, Teresa Ma, as well as U.S.-China Restaurant Alliance President Tony Hu, who are doing a food drive to a senior building in Bridgeport, Chicago. So Tim, there we go. Here's the Tim.
Wow.
Oh, here we are.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Andrea Fox, and I'm the UCA Illinois coordinator for this event, working with Tony Hu, president of the U.S.-China Restaurant Alliance. We're bringing hot lunches to Bridgeport Senior Suites with Illinois State Representative Teresa Ma. And I'd love to introduce you to our team today.
How are you? Hello, everybody.
Hi.
This is Restaurant Alliance.
My name is Edison. This is our launch team.
Hi, I'm Wang Laoshi. I'm UCA Illinois Jiaozi Fest coordinator.
Yes, Wang Laoshi. Hello. You're a diehard volunteer.
Thanks.
Yes.
Where's Teresa?
Teresa was actually
She's on her way.
Yeah,
Okay.
she was doing another food drive at another part of Chinatown. Our dear representative, really busy doing wonderful work. So we hope that she'll join. Go ahead. Sorry for the interruption. Go ahead.
Yeah. And that's
So for
Andrea
this
Fogg.
we'd
Go
like
ahead,
to
go
tell
ahead.
you more. And we have Tony who is going to tell us more about the alliance work.
Hello, everybody, everywhere across the country. My name is Tony Hu. I'm the president of the Lao Sichuan Group. Also, I'm the president of China Restaurant Alliance. Our alliance is proud to be a national partner of the Chinese Food Love Day of the Day. And go Chinese food, go Food Love Day, go.
Go!
Go.
All right. Thank you.
50 states, 100 cities, one people united.
Woo! Wow.
Good job. Thank you so much. That's my second hometown. Thank you. Dongliang Zijia's volunteers as well. I apologize that Representative Ma, we're going to have to miss you, but I talked to you multiple times, and thank you so much for care for your constituents and working with the UCA. And so thank you for watching the live actions. There are, as Haipei said, close to 45 states already in action, also close to 100 cities. But we need more actions because we want to spread the love to everyone. So please join our team to spread the love and show our love through the food of love.
Thank you, Lily. That's very inspiring, very exciting. So now we've got some documents to share with folks. Should we get another screen? Yeah. Oh, here's our movie. Good job.
50 states, 100 cities, one nation, one community. We are Chinese Americans. When our community suffers, we suffer. When our neighbors suffer, we suffer. Like our fellow Americans, we help each other. We care about each other. We provide aid and assistance to many. We organize fundraisers, donate medical equipment, deliver food to first responders and people in need. Like our fellow Americans, we build and rebuild our nation. Even though we face incidents of discrimination, we never lose hope. We are resilient, and we show our American spirit and strength through actions. 151 years ago, our forefathers laid the last rail for the Transcontinental Railroad. They helped make us mobile, connecting our people and our country. Today, we launch another project that connects communities. Coming this May 10th, from coast to coast, from sea to shining sea, in 50 states, in 100 cities, our restaurants will prepare free food for fellow Americans. Our communities will deliver hot meals to homeless shelters and soup kitchens, and we will spread our love across this great nation.
Woo!
That was a wonderful, thank you, Changfu. So we have the performance now, which I've been looking forward to, and I know all of you have as well. So Ms. Abigail Washburn and Wu Fei, are you guys here? Are you ready?
Can they introduce themselves or say a few words?
Please, would you guys like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hey, can I see Abby somehow? I don't know how to work with the screen. I'm using a phone, so I small area. Yeah, thank you for. My name is Wu Fei. And here's what I play. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. Neighbor state from Kentucky, the same as Abby. And so thank you for all of you for having us. Then I've also been a big fan of UCA's work. I attended the conference 2 years ago in DC, actually, where I saw actually Andrew Yang in the same room for the first time when he just started his campaign. And then I also, loved Congresswoman Judy Chu's speech at actually in LA once. I was there in the audience. I was also starstruck. And then I was also at one of Ambassador Locke's, when he was in Beijing doing his post there. I'm originally from Beijing as well. Anyways, and I'm also a huge fan of Congressman Ted Lieu, and I love seeing his speech on C-SPAN and Twitter. So I feel very honored to be here with you all and seeing all the amazing pictures and videos that you all just showed. It makes me very it brings my tears down to see everyone going through hard, helping each other while going through this difficult time together. Yeah.
We are
Thank you.
so looking forward to listen to your music. That's great. We are a little bit behind schedule, but we're excited to hear your music. Please go ahead.
Great.
So we're gonna sing, Usuli and Water is White. All right.
The water is wide, I can't cross on. Neither have I wings to fly. Give me a boat that can carry two, and we shall go, my child and I.
Whoa! Wow! Wow!
Oh, that was so lovely. Oh, just loved it.
Thank you.
Could they do one more? Do they have one more?
Can Abby tell everyone that on our record, actually, the two melodies,
You can hear everything together because we're online right now. Things are delayed a little bit, so we have to space out how we play. But on the record, it's completely interwoven, which is true of our lives and our friendship. And we really hope that it's a representation of how much love there is between us as sisters across cultures in this music. So we wanted to share that with you.
That goes so well with our theme, Food of Love. Thank you for spreading the music of love to us. Elise, thank you so much. Beautiful.
Thank you guys. That really was very lovely. Despite the technological difficulties, the love did come across. And I just wanted to, again, say thank you to all of our speakers and our partners. But most importantly, I would like to thank our volunteers, because without you, none of this would have been possible. So I am feeling very lucky to have recently joined the UCA team. But the thing is that other people can join too. We are needing volunteers and help all over the country. So if you are interested in getting involved, there's a lot of ways that you can help. You can obviously donate, even a small donation, like $5 or $10. That little bit goes a long way, and it helps to activate you and get you involved. And then you can volunteer, you can join your local teams, and if there isn't one, you can get one started. And don't worry if you think your area's got too many Chinese organizations already. The more the merrier, right? So thank you again for giving your time to come to this Zoom meeting today. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful Mother's Day weekend. And it's a fantastic way to start off this whole month of Food of Love.
Next slide, please. Thank you so much, Elise, and I cannot agree with you more that we really would love to thank all the volunteers and the organizing committee, especially the logistic team, Shirley, and media team Tongfu, and your team members, Vicky and Monica and Andrew Fox, and Jian Xie and Sui Wen, and social media team, Elise, thank you, and also the social media members, Helen and Joey, and just too many to name, but we just want to thank you for your incredible contribution. Next slide, please. Thank you so much for our wonderful leader, Haipei, for leading us, and our partners, TCL, U.S.-China Restaurant Alliance, and also Salvation Army. Thank you. Thank all the distinguished speakers. Next slide, please. And CLUSA for helping us with the technology. Thank you, Yuan Wen. Next slide, please. And we want to, last but not least, we want to go quickly, going through all the participating organizations who has signed up for the food of the day. Next slide, just keep rolling, Helen, please. We're going to share the slide with you, and thank you every organization who has signed up, and also the restaurants. And you are going to spread the love from our community. Will be a change agent to help our community reach the high for civic engagement, but also combat hate with love. And next slide, please. And we would love to connect with you, and please submit your photos. The entire Food of Love campaign is throughout the month of May. So please submit your pictures, information, and also visit our website. Next slide, please. Here's a follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and also UCA social. And here's our website, ucausa.org, Food of Love. You can donate and join our team. In 50 states, 100 cities, one people uniting. Thank you all for participating. Thank you for our amazing Elise, our MC, for doing a wonderful job. Thank you for taking your time to join us. We'll love to see you again soon. Bye. Thank you so much. It's exactly 1 o'clock, 1:01. I'm sorry we're a little bit behind the schedule. Please follow us on Facebook and connect with us, so inform us. Our email at info@ucausa.org.
And I'll interrupt real quickly to say, make sure to tag us at UCA Social, and we will repost and share your message all over the place.
That's
Bye.
right. Yeah. Our slogan is a serve, treat. That means social media, and inspire. We want it to be heard and to be known, and also to continue to love. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.